Up next is Murray Ketteler from Blunt, South Dakota. Murray and his dog Kate are here competing at the horseback finals and have made the final go. Murray's a large animal veterinarian.
We see Murray at a lot of trials in central United States and in western United States. Murray's a top handler who gets the paycheck quite often.
He does. I've seen him win a lot of trials. He's won Nebraska State Fair and Stock Show, and being a fellow Midwesterner with him, I've trialed with him for a lot of years now.
Kate's making a real wide outrun here, which there's no fault for that. Certainly she's not going to miss the cattle, and interesting thing here in the first round, or the preliminary rounds, we ran 3 head, but we've upped it to 5 for the.
We have upped it to 5. We've given the horses, the horseback riders and the dogs a little bit more to handle and upped the points on the course. And so it looks like Kate, there she is behind him. You kind of knew she was behind him when the cattle started moving, but she's looked like she's completed her outrun in good shape and lifted the cattle from the top and scored full points on her outrun.
And Murray and Kate had about 220 points, I think, didn't they, coming into this?
They did, coming in, and so there are some handler dog teams with quite a few more points than that, so he's going to need as many points as he can get out of this course to stay in the top placings.
Now, he had one heifer kind of break off, but she's headed in the right direction. The timeline is over against that east fence, and so she's kind of leading them to the promised land.
It is, and you know, you see a lot of the handlers bringing those heifers across the side of that hill, so they stay uphill of that handler's line, which is just on the downhill side from the irrigation ditch there. As we've seen before, when you cross that irrigation ditch, the cattle tend to speed up, and that's something that the handlers have had to deal with in the preliminary runs all week long, and so everybody, after having run on this field a couple of times in the prelims, has kind of figured out a strategy to deal with that. And this, Murray and Kate have kept their cattle on the top. Now, as long as Kate can, he's down in her there, and there you can see that handler line marker to the right of Kate there, that box with an orange ribbon on it, made out of panels. So Murray and Kate have completed that handler line portion, and now he's bringing Kate around on that fence to pull him out of that corner. And since this is a gambler's choice course, we'll have to see where Murray and Kate elect to take the cattle and try to score points first.
Unfortunately, something he's having to deal with, which we're probably going to see happen to a lot of handlers, is the cattle going down to that corner, which is a natural draw because that's where they've been exhausted and where they've been watered.
Lie down.
Yeah, you know, cattle always have a favorite place to go. It's usually, you know, wherever they're most comfortable hanging out, and especially, you know, under stress. Even, you know, they're not terribly stressed or upset, but even mild stress like what's happening to them here on this field, they want to go to what they think is a safe place, and that corner seems to be it. So they came out of there nicely with no kind of a fight. So it looks like Murray and Kate are headed up the hill to the weave.
Might mention also, Murray's letting the dog do most of the work, plus the fact that in order to keep the horse and rider from having too much advantage, the riders can lose points if they break into a trot.
They can't. There's a 5-point penalty for trotting your horse and doing more work with the horse and less with the dog. And so you want to keep everything slow and controlled for maximum points, and Murray's strategy looks to be here to keep his horse still and block with his horse and let the dog move the livestock.
Come by, come by, come by. Back.
Well, things seem to be going well so far.
Come by, come by.
They do. Kate's bringing them through that first set of panels in the weave. Flanked around and tucked that one in nicely. And Murray's probably going to be moving his horse up here into position. You know, a lot of the competitors here this week brought their own horses. This actually is a horse that Murray borrowed, and actually a couple of people have ridden this horse in the competition. And you never know how that's going to happen with what's going to happen with a horse that you have multiple handlers with multiple different types of feel and cues and timing on that horse. You know, how well she's going to take that. You know, she's been ridden through these prelim runs by multiple handlers. And we'll see how this horse named Blondie, owned by Juan Reyes, is going to handle this today.
Murray just dodged a bullet there. He tried to have a heifer get away going downhill across the ditch. That could spell real disaster because those cattle are naturally wanting to draw that away. Kate did a great job of saving that heifer.
She did do a nice job of tucking her back in before she got too far away, and Murray didn't get real excited. He just let Kate go do her job and tucked him in there. So far, Murray's keeping his horse on the downhill side and letting Kate take care of the top side, much like we saw Tom Blaisdell do.
Wait a minute. Lie down.
Let's see, I believe we have one more weave to do, and then we'll probably be attempting the freestanding set of panels.
Lie down.
So there they go, and they actually score one more time as they come across on the end of those panels. They have to clear the ends in order to finish this obstacle with full points. There they go, and it looks like Murray and Kate are going to take them down the hill, across that plane between those panels below the irrigation ditch and the west end of that panel up on the side hill. So Murray and Kate have gotten the cattle to clear that line. Murray's moving himself and Blondie into position to work the next obstacle.
This is going to be a real tricky part with those cattle naturally wanting to speed up as they go down.
It is, and I think that's why Murray's decided to get himself down in there, kind of provide a little breaks for the cattle. When Kate brings them off that hill, he can kind of get in their way, and hopefully they kind of respect his presence, and he'll slow down and hopefully turn through that obstacle for him.
Come by.
And of course, this is the advantage of being horseback and being out there helping your dog. It's just kind of like riding ahead of the cattle and turning them into a gate or something.
Right. That's right. Well, Murray's strategy partially worked. He got 2 of the 5 through the center. Murray has the option of going back and retrying the obstacle and get all 5 head through the obstacle, or he can take the points he has completed through that obstacle for the 2 head and just move on to the next obstacle. But once he's moved on, he can't go back and retry that obstacle.
I tell you, those cattle coming off of that levee is like trying to catch water running off the roof. You know, it's hard to get it all in the bucket.
With a sieve,
yeah,
for sure.
And he did a good job to get a few of them to go through the hole, and of course now they've had another chance to come down to this gate that they want to go through. That surely makes it tough, and they have done a good job so far.
It does, and anytime you get to an exhaust gate like that or a really heavy spot, it's almost like a magnet. The closer they are to that spot, the stronger they want to be there. So we'll see handlers. We've seen handlers all week long, and I'm sure we will in this competition. Try to just keep them out of that area.
Now, it's hard to tell just yet whether he's attempting to go back to the other obstacle or if he's going to just forego the 15 points and attempt this one.
We'll be able to tell once Murray gets these cattle daylighted out of this obstacle. If he flanks Kate around and tries to point them back into that obstacle in the entrance of it, that means he's done with that set of panels out in the middle of the field, and he's moved on to this horseshoe sort obstacle.
Now, the fact that he didn't ride his horse into this obstacle also somewhat implied that he was intending to work this obstacle.
Right, that's right. You can't ride your horse. The only entrance you can take your horse into in this obstacle is that side exit in the alleyway, and you can't go past the line where the cattle are coming from. You can't go past that entrance or that exit closer to the cattle. You cannot enter the end, and you can't enter the entrance of that obstacle. So now Murray's got those cattle penned in there. He's got that phase of the work completed. He's backing Blondie up into position to sort the cattle. His first calf has to come out the side exit, and then the next calf goes out the end, and they alternate one then the other until he's out of cattle. Here we go for his first calf. Oh, 3 went by. So Murray's cattle there because he broke that pattern and he only made one, he didn't make a sort, so he didn't score, Murray didn't score anything on that obstacle at this point. He's going to have to clear his cattle and retry to get anything done here.
Come by.
It's not a big alley to work in, and having a horse that is very responsive to your needs but staying settled at the same time can be critical in your success here.
Absolutely.
And it's worth a lot of points.
That horseshoe sort is really critical, and it is the obstacle that you really have to have that horse really under control and responsive to the handler cues, and yet, like you said, very settled, and a horse that isn't going to do anything until you tell them to. Well, it looks like Murray said that that's enough. He's going to move on and exhaust his cattle and let Kate have a break, and that's Murray Kettler's run from Blunt, South Dakota, scoring with a final 220 points for his horseback final run.
I'm here with Murray Ketteler again from Blunt, South Dakota. Murray and Kate just completed their run in the horseback class. And Murray, the first part of your run looked good, got through the weave pretty good, and then the cattle started giving you a little trouble. What happened there?
Well, the cattle doing the weave were on the far end of the course, and they draw to this other corner. So once I took the pressure off them, they drifted down to this end of the course pretty hard. And so they were in this corner, and I attempted the obstacle, the sort obstacle in this corner of the course.
Now, when you started on that obstacle, you came in on the east side of the obstacle, but you had to, looks like had to push the cattle all the way through and start over from the other end. Can you explain the ruling on that?
Most of the obstacles have more than one opening. There's only one way, generally one way they can enter the obstacle. Because I started into the wrong opening on the obstacle, I had to take them through it, take them clearly through the obstacle until they daylighted the obstacle, and then take them back through it.
It looks like they kind of balled up on you a little bit and made the sort quite difficult.
Yes, and I'm not an expert horseman either, and I was riding somebody else's horse, so in borrowing a horse, you never know quite how they're going to react to your cues on your reins, and so I wasn't real sharp on that, and I didn't get the sort all the way, but I think I got a few points.
Good. Well, Murray, we appreciate it. There's a lot more runs to go, so we hope your total adds up to be favorable for you. Thank you for being at the National Cattledog Finals.
Thank you.